character himself is hugely ambitious and willing to do things that maybe other people wouldn't do. But it was his ambition that I kind of chimed with, and because I was hugely ambitious growing up, and I would credit that to being where I am today. But he kind of pushes it a little bit further than I would, and he doesn't necessarily take other people's situations in hand, and will just do whatever it needs to take to get a long way. So I like the character, and then not context, subject of the movie, the whole quantum theory and all those kinds of things is really fascinating and interesting to me. And I didn't realize that so much of what is happening in the movie isn't too far away. And I just got asked in the other round table about that and the science in the movie and real life, and it's astonished me how it's catching up to what's happened in the movie. And I never expected when I signed on that it was going to become this whole huge science experiment that we're going to do, and that's really, really exciting. But so when I just read the script, I was like, oh, that's an interesting idea, and I know nothing about quantum theory, so this is a cool introduction, and it was interesting concepts to me because I'm not a religious person, but I definitely there's energy and there's something else going on that we can't work out, and so scientific research into that kind of thing is really interesting to me. There's a point in the movie where one of the characters commits suicide, and my character, what was most fascinating for me was that my character looks at that and goes, isn't sad or anything, is like maybe that person figured it out. And has forced the next reality into existence, and that was really cool. Actually, that moment where I'm like, wow, it doesn't affect my character in any way apart from shit. Maybe she got the better of me, and I'm just too cowardly to take that step. Because in the life that we live, obviously suicide is very sad, and we lose that person. But it's only sad because we don't know what's after, and if there is anything after, or where that person goes. And so for that to be challenged in the movie was a really interesting concept for me, and I just like how it questions reality, and how these scientists that we're working with and they're all around us today are working on these problems and trying to further humanity and find out more and more about what this is all about, because we just spend our time distracting ourselves with money and clothes and Instagram and stupid bullshit wars and stuff, whereas actually hey, let's go to the moon, let's try and figure out life and death, let's do this. And I think that's really inspiring and interesting, and I think the movie definitely leaves you questioning all of that stuff.
Who would you say the target audience for this movie is?
I think it's an ADD movie. I think it's this generation of clicking everywhere and looking for information. The movie never stands still. It's not linear in the way of any movie I've ever seen or been involved in. Which when I first watched it, I was like, is this good? Is this bad? You don't come away going, well, that was terrible, or that was the most amazing thing. You come away going, okay, I need to think about that, because the movie kind of takes place in a few days or in 1 second, and that's how it comes at you. It's you jump from here to here to here to here to here, because it's the concept of everything happens all at once, and every decision has 100 other decisions that are made at the same time. So the target audience is people who are intrigued, and obviously in quantum mechanics and quantum theory and the questions of what is this all about, why are we here, what are the alternatives, and for the gamer generation, I think of kids who want something new and exciting, and visually it's stunning to look at, and it has a great soundtrack, and it's honestly I haven't seen a movie like this before, and that's why at the end of it, and I'm in the thing and I filmed it, and then I've watched it twice now, and both times I've come away and really thought about it, and I've been in the thing and I've known about it for years now, and so I'm really excited to see, especially with the experiment that we're doing, what people take away from it.
How would you describe your character? Is he innocent, or he wants something else from this experiment?
I think he's innocent in the way that any young person is innocent. When you're in your early 20s and you're searching for yourself as well as where you fit and other answers about the world. But you're quite at that age, quite tunnel vision about things. So I think he's in that stage where he hasn't yet reached a place where he has time to think about other people, because he needs to figure out stuff for himself and the burning questions that he has that he needs answered. But I think it's youthful ambition, but maybe just a little bit too much.
Does he know that his experiment might be used for bad purposes?
Yes, but I think he chooses not to think about that. Basically, he would rather further. He's just, his curiosity is such that he would rather know the answers and then think about that later, if you know what people might use it for. I think.
What were the challenges as an actor that you had never done before?
Trying to figure out, because I enjoy movies because there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. This movie doesn't necessarily have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It jumps around a lot. You know, it doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and end because there is no beginning, middle, and end. You know, like it's the concept of all time is the same. So that's tough, and we asked a lot of questions of the director and the writer and producer, just to help stabilize ourselves in each scene, because you're playing a character who is in this moment, and you're not aware that you're not aware of the construction of the movie. So you're playing whatever the scene is at that point, and that's all you can do, and that's what you fall back on, actually. So you just play the truth of each scene as it is in front of you, because you don't know, you're not aware that it's a movie. So you're just playing the reality that you're in at that moment. So that was tough, because to plot a character arc, like you want to say, well, this character starts here and ends here, was tough to do in this movie. So actually, we all just put our trust in the creatives behind the scenes and just played the truth as we saw it, moment to moment.
Josh, I've got to ask you, I mean, you've raised the question of this movie. You walk away asking questions with this, because obviously it's, you know, what if you could hack into the human mind?
Mm-hmm.
So I think what I want to raise to you is, if you could certainly do it, what do you think would be the pros and the cons of hacking into the human mind?
Well, I think we'd find out, hopefully, a lot more about why certain people, why people are the way that they are, and why some people are more selfish than others, and I mean, people have asked me about why what I would share, because there's all the brain connectivity and stuff, and I feel like I am a person with a lot of empathy, and I would like, which helps me a lot with my job, and I'd love to share that, because I feel like a lot of problems that we have are due to the fact that people find it difficult to put themselves in other people's shoes. Like, if you can't imagine yourself as a Syrian refugee running away from their country, then you're going to have a problem. Whereas if you can, then there's no argument. Like, what are we even talking about? So I find that quite tough. So I think that was what would be useful, is to get in, you know, to people's minds and allow them, not force them, allow them to see the world from another person's point of view. I think that fixes a lot of stuff. I mean, I think that fixes racism and sexism and misogyny, like all these things. I think it's that solves all the problems, really. If you can have empathy for other people, then we can just all help each other.
And on the flip side, what would be the...
Well, the flip side is then you can see how you can manipulate people. And I mean, people do that already all the time. But I think it could be much more fine-tuned. So, yeah, I mean, that's what's really weird and scary and exciting at the same time, is that we're not that far away from understanding a lot more about the human mind and plugging in to the whole thing. Like, if you listen to the two scientists who were with the movie, you can go both ways with it. You can go, wow, this is really exciting. We can go, oh god, this is really scary. Especially knowing that there are people in the world who are merely purely out for themselves. And but then I don't know. So I guess humanity doesn't change. We're all still the same people fighting with each other, unfortunately. But like I said, hopefully we can get to the root of why people want to fight each other and why they would want to separate.
If you could manipulate anybody's mind, and change some things in their mind, who would you choose?
Well, I think, you know, like I said, like anyone who is being is excluding other groups from their sphere of thinking. So I play a character on this television show right now who just mentioned that he was gay, and that's come out on the internet now, and in the comments, so like there's people who have a problem with that basically, and I just that for me a lot of that comes from a certain place. So where does that come from, and why do people feel that way? And because actually, what difference does it make to you? You know, so going back to the whole empathy thing, like it would be interesting to take someone like that and put them in the shoes of someone who is gay or is whatever their prejudice is against. I think that's the best use of it, really.
So if you could choose a mind to tap into, which one would you?
Oh, there are many.
Pick one. Like,
I can't, because there's a very obvious one that I'm not going to say.
Alright, last question, please.
Is there a person that you would like to communicate with if you weren't being able to communicate with?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. Bruce Lee, like all the usual ones. Bruce Lee, Mahatma Gandhi, the Dalai Lama. He's still alive though. Just yeah, there's a bunch. I don't think like people ask about heroes and all that kind of stuff, and I find that tough because I can't put one person above another, and there's no one person that I'd be like, wow, that person's better than anyone else, because I feel like everyone's capable of reaching whatever kind of nirvana that person, that whatever mental state that person reached. So, but it's good to learn from people.
Well, what about you can answer. What about your family? Would you like to know what they're thinking? Any one of them?
No, because I think it might make me sad. Sometimes, like you always try to understand people and help them and heal their whatever pain they're feeling, and I think that's tough if it's in your family, and you would try and understand something. I think that's too close to home, actually. I would hand that off to someone else.
Sometimes better not to know.
Yeah, I think so.
Alright, thank you
What's
guys.
next for you as you walk away? What's next?
I can't say.
You can't say.
More acting work.
More actually. You're doing nothing at all? Not a little
No.
slither or something?
No, sorry.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.